Hello there. Now, picture this. The year is 2015. It's the height of Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. You're me, in school, clear-eyed, rosy-cheeked, and has a great outlook on the world. And you decide that you want to paint a silly little picture for an art class. And because I'm incapable of doing anything that's not media-related, this painting is of course going to be an ode to none other than the one true queen of Westeros, Daenerys Targaryen. Now, imagine this. The year is 2025. It is a decade later. You are now a jaded adult with bad skin, and you still haven't finished the fucking painting yet. But all that's gonna change today, my friends. We're doing something a little different. So, right here, I have a painting of the beautiful Emilia Clarke, aka Daenerys Targaryen. As I mentioned, I started this painting 2015, and like most things in life, I don't finish them. So, but I want to change all that today. I want to finish this painting, if for no other reason than to just get it out of my life, all right? These are the kinds of things that stress me out immensely, and I need to have it done so I can at least put it somewhere and say it's done. Why didn't I get rid of it in those 10 years? For this moment exactly. No, it's because I'm a hoarder. Honestly, I have not looked at this painting in years. I have also not painted in years. This might be a problem. I think the last time I worked on this was in like 2017 or 2018, and then it's just been sitting in a pile, shoved against a wall. Honestly, kind of impressed. Like this does not look horrible, right? There are some things that I need to change. Obviously, I need to do all of Drogon. I need to do her hair. I need to fix her skin. I need to fix the background. I need to fix everything. I need to redo the whole painting, is what I'm saying. Here is what it should look like. This is the reference from the show. Here's what we got so far. Classic me fashion. I did all of the easiest parts first and saved the hardest parts for later so I could get better. And then I just didn't. I didn't. So I'm gonna be going through and finishing this painting. I've got like 2 days of free time. I need to finish her mouth and her eyes. For the eyes, I'm planning on making these more purple to match like the book description of the Targaryens. I need to do all of Drogon. I don't know how that's gonna fucking work out. Also, I want to redo the background. The background sucks, let's be honest. It's not good. It looks like lazy camo print instead of blurry camo print. Also, I never like finished the sides of these. When you're painting, you're supposed to bring it over onto the sides of the canvas so that, you know, it looks like a finished piece instead of garbage. Anyway, gonna do that. I'm stalling. I don't want to start this. Probably the last time I painted was when last thing I painted. No, so in the meantime, I have gone to like the Paint Your Pottery studios twice, and I hated both of the things I made. I haven't done any other painting, so like this is gonna be bad. Oh, no, wait, I did paint something. Hold on.
Because we have to go to a book, don't we? We have to go to a book.
Did you see that? What the fuck would...
I have painted something. I present to you Bold and Brash. I made this like probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I had an extra tote bag, so I ripped it apart, stapled it to a frame, and then painted this masterpiece on there. Ooh, I love it. If I can just bring, you know, this energy onto this piece, I think we'll be good. All right, I'm stalling. We're gonna get painting. Bye. All right, get to it. Ah! So I started off with my repainting journey of this, trying to fix the background, mostly because it's the easiest part to do, and because I think that's actually like the order of operations you're supposed to go in with paintings. I don't know. I haven't taken any sort of like art class in years, but from the last one I did when I started this, I think the idea was basically to like start in the background and then work your way towards the foreground. And also, once again, it was the easiest. I feel like logically that makes sense because you can just kind of like go ham on the background and then cover all the mistakes up as you go. But here I was just basically trying to do like a dry brushing technique. Look at that. Look at those art terms. Basically dry brushing is where you get some paint on a brush and then you like scrub off as much paint as you can and just kind of dabble it on top, so that it's not, you know, wet paint, it's just kind of like dirt looking. Anyway, I basically just like did dry brushing with all of the colors around the entire background. In the actual like image from the show, you can kind of see that there are people like kneeling down. This is in the whole scene in the show when Dani has her like rebirth at the end of season 1. And so it's all of these people, you know, like crowded around bowing to her, and they're not in focus and Dani's in focus. But just like for this painting, like I can't do that. I cannot be bothered to do that. They're just gonna be, you know, like green and gray and brown blobs, because they're not the focus. The focus is Dani and dragons. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I wrote down a list of things to talk about, because shockingly enough, for how much I yap, when I'm supposed to like sit down and yap, I can't. There's nothing in my brain. That's why if there's like weird noise going on in the background, sorry, there's cars going by, and also I'm doing this while working on other stuff, because if I just sit down and have to talk and that's the only thing I can focus on, it's bad. Truly, I'm like a deer in headlights. I just freeze. Alright, I feel like the outside looks a lot better now than it did. It looks better in person than it does on camera, I promise. Oh, no promises. But I think it does look better in person. I think that part I need to fix a little bit, but besides that, it's looking pretty good. It is darker than the reference, but I might go in and lighten it up a little bit. Unlikely. Wow. Oh yeah, so I wrote down a list of things to talk about. Good job, me. I did write this at like 1 in the morning. One of the notes on here just says dead rat. I might explain that later. Who knows? Anyway, as I mentioned, I really have not done that much like artistic stuff in a very long time, or ever, depending on how you want to define it. But I do just watch like an absurd amount of art or art adjacent content on YouTube. Hello. I feel like there's probably an easier way to get this shot, but here we are. I'm really hoping that like my years experience watching NerdForge videos has just like osmosis into my brain, and I'll just have a little Martina in there cheering me on, because oh my god, are they talented. I'm hoping that this will finally pay off. Also just watching like Prickly Alpaca, Rachel Maxey, and North of the Border, I feel like even though I haven't actually done the art myself, I feel like I've learned from watching them, you know? Like, they're all great artists, they're great painters, especially with North of the Border. Watching someone, like, craft a sculpture is so interesting, especially, like, the amount of detail that goes into it that you don't even see. Like, that's specifically where I learned, like, dry brushing from, and also, like, applying washes. But I've definitely taken it up in, like, me trying to learn how to draw. That, like, anatomy, not that anatomy doesn't matter, but that, like, it really pays off to draw the anatomy of something and then, like, cover it up with clothing. It does make a difference. You can, like, pose these people a lot better instead of just trying to, you know, draw, like, a head, a neck, and then, like, shirt. If you draw the torso and it comes out looking, like, way nicer than it would have otherwise, at least for me. I'm sure that people who are, like, good at this can just go straight to the clothing on top, but that's not working out for me so far. Also, I feel like it's a good thing to practice. It's a good habit to get into. Just give everyone, like, the juiciest ass cheeks you can, and go on from there. Oh, that doesn't really apply to this painting at all, since Danny's already naked, but, you know, it has other applications, you know? Also, a few months ago, I started watching just a ton of Sam Does Art, and that's really helped too. There's something, like, so mesmerizing about watching people who are so good at art do it so easily that you're like, I can do that. As soon as you actually try it yourself, you realize, like, oh no, these people are really good. But even with, like, the lack of skill, I do think it is encouraging to see just people, like, going for it and trying out things, especially people who try out new things that aren't in their, like, you know, regular skill set. It's very, like, encouraging to see other people trying new things and not being perfect at them right off the bat, because, and, like, learning to be okay with not being great is very hard. That's fine. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm so shit at a lot of things, and I hate being bad at things. So I am trying to get better at them, but I'm also trying to be transparent about not being good at them, you know? Like, learning is all part of the process, you know? No one came out of the womb drawing fucking Mozart. Alright, I've just been working on the hair for, like, the past 2 hours, but, like, this looks sick. Like, this looks good. The lighting makes it really hard to see, but, like, that looks like hair, right? Like, not horrible. I like it. This took way too long with every individual hair stroke. We're cooking. That looks like literal shit. Another big part of this whole process, which is like difficult to deal with, is just trusting the process and, like, trusting your skill set, and also being stubborn enough not to give up. Because let me tell you, I really thought that, like, doing the shading on Danny's face and neck and adding, like, the dirt texture was gonna be really easy. It was not. Oh my god, it looked like actual poop. It looked so bad. And as soon as I put it on there, I was like, oh no, I've made a huge mistake. That looks not good. I will be real. Quite honestly, if I was not filming this, I probably would have just, like, given up immediately and gone and done something else and put the painting back. I really did just have to, like, keep on going and, you know, trust the process. And sometimes that made things worse. Sometimes it did not work out, and then I had to go back and fix it. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. You know, if you don't succeed at something, just continuously keep running headfirst at a wall until it eventually works out. And it might. It might not, but it might work out. You feel? Dude, what is with this fucking TED Talk today? My god. Oh, that is a weird eyelid. Oh, shit. Just, undo that one. My god. Anyway, the skin was looking bad. I gotta be real. The dry brushing was not working out. I had to, like, go over and repaint basically all of her skin texture again, but that's fine. It gives it a good, like, base layer, you know? That's another thing that I learned in art, is you're supposed to lay down color first and then paint over it to give it, like, a nice undertone. I think that applies more for, like, watercolor and oils and basically anything other than acrylic, since acrylic is just plastic that you're putting on top, so it pretty much, like, covers up everything entirely. But that's fine. I'll say that it was intentional and that it does count in this application. Alright, so I ran out of paint for the skin, what I had mixed up, so I'm just gonna call it there. But, like, it's better than it was. It looks nice on camera. I'm just gonna go fix up the hair. Oh no. I'm gonna fix up the hair around the edges. And then I guess start on the eyes. Wow. Oh yeah, that's a good shade. Oh, that's a good shade. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, new skills. So I really have been enjoying like trying to pick up new skills that add no like practical value to my life, you know? Does that make sense? Okay, what I'm trying to say is that like, look, I am not like a self-help person, and I really don't like all of the the fucking hustle culture that's like, oh, you want to learn a skill? It's like, great, you can monetize it and you can turn it into a career. I don't want to do that. I just want to have my silly little fun time when I'm not at work. If I'm at work, I'll work. And when I'm done, I want to be done. I don't want to continuously work all the time. I realize that by having, you know, hobbies, you are still working, but that's like designated fun time. And if you're not having fun, you don't need to do it, you know? Anyway, I feel like picking up a hobby that has like no practical value to it is really quite fun. Like, there's absolutely no reason why in 2025 like I would need to know how to paint, but that's why I think it's so fun, because I'm like, there's no value to me doing this other than my own enjoyment, which is nice. Sitting down and just spending some old time painting, ooh, it does your brain good. Truly, there are no thoughts going on in this head right now. Both in the painting and in recording. I need a break. Alright, hello there. I finished the skin. I just futzed around with it a lot until it looked kind of right. I'm not done with the skin, I lied. I'm pretty much done with this skin. I pretty much just continuously put paint on till it wasn't horrible. I did the eyes. The eyes look dope, if I do say so myself. Look at them. Wow. I do need to finish the mouth. The mouth is what I'm going to do next. I also need to add more shading on the face because it does look pretty flat. Like the shading basically on the side of her nose there, and then maybe a little more in her cheeks. And then I think that'll help even it out. Oh, also under the mouth. I want to finish the mouth first, then I'll finish the shading for that, and then I can move on to the dragon. Alright, how's the voiceover going so far? Because whenever I'm filming, I'm very like cognizant that I'm being filmed, and it makes me a little uncomfortable to just sit in silence, but that's just how I sit most of the time. Whenever I'm drawing, I will literally just sit in the same spot for like 4 hours in silence, doing nothing. But I do sometimes like commentate while I'm going. I also will just like straight up talk to myself while doing the art. Just for company, you know. Just me, myself, and I. I love painting because every 5 seconds it's like, did I destroy this? The answer is usually yes. Oh, that looks like feces. Alright, so the mouth, not going great. Gotta be honest. But again, I do not know what I'm doing. Add in some good old-fashioned shadows. Maybe that'll fix things? Well, maybe if I just bring the mouth down more. How about that? Whoops. That might have been a little much. Oh, that looks way better. Hold on. That is a white orange. Peach. Peach is the color I was looking for. Oh, that looks sick. Oh, am I just making it muddier? Okay, that's workable. Okay, like it could have turned out worse. But yeah. What else? Game of Thrones. Oh, should we talk about Game of Thrones? I want to talk about Game of Thrones. You want to talk about Game of Thrones? Oh my god, I love Game of Thrones so much. It is so good. I love the show. I love the books. I've never been, like, into reading, but like, specifically because of the show, I was determined to read the books. I basically decided beforehand that I was going to like the books and I was going to read them all. And I did, and they're great, and I love them. Also, all of, like, the spin-offs are also good. If you've read, like, the main Game of Thrones series, I would highly recommend both Fire and Blood, which is what House of the Dragon is based off of, and also the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which I think they're also making a spin-off about. It's basically Dunk and Egg. It's these two guys, and they're going around and they're having some silly little adventures together. It's very nice. And their names are Dunk and Egg. Yes, I'm dead serious. Their names are Dunk and Egg. One is Dunk, one is Egg. But oh my god, Game of Thrones is just so good. So much of this show is so, like, cinematically beautiful. Like, back when it was still running, I just had a folder on my laptop that was, like, beautiful cinematic shots from Game of Thrones that I would just go and look at sometimes for fun, because oh my god, this show is gorgeous. They did such a great job with the cinematography. Just, it all hits so good. Like, there are problems with this show, don't get me wrong, quite frankly. Like, looking back at it now, the complete lack of intimacy coordinators on the set is, like, actually appalling. Like, I'm not a fan of Bridgerton, but I do appreciate that they basically just, like, standardized the fact that if you're going to have, you know, nudity or intimate scenes on camera, you need to have someone, you know, in charge to make sure that that is done, like, safely and consensually. So, like, yay Bridgerton. I wish that melded over into the plot of the show, but it didn't. But, you know, it has actual, like, ramifications in the real world, so I think that's wonderful. Okay, so, update today. I reworked the skin. I feel it looks a lot better. Now, all I have left to do is Drogon. I am going to have to go in at the end and, like, clean up the background again, because I went a little overboard on there. I'd rather have to redo parts of the background than redo parts of the body, you know? Other than that, I'm going to get to Drogon. Hopefully I can finish this today. We'll see how that goes. I might also have to fix the mouth. Her mouth is getting smaller by the second. Dude, also, let me tell ya, I know people have thoughts about the last season. I know people have thoughts about the last season. I don't want to talk about the last season. However, I will talk about the fucking fantasy league that I was in. I was in a fantasy league for Game of Thrones for the last season, and I had the perfect strategy. When I tell you that I was fucking big braining this so hard, I was setting myself up to win. I was winning by, like, hundreds of points by the last episode. Like, there was no way I could lose. I fucking lost. I am more mad about losing at my Game of Thrones fantasy league than I am about the ending of the show, which I don't know what that says, but I'm so competitive and my strategy was so good. And you know who beat me? My mom, who has watched the entire show and could probably name 5 characters at most at the end of any given episode. How did I lose? Oh my god. Look, my strategy was fucking flawless. I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed. What can I say? Anyway, my team was basically Tyrion, Tormund, Beric Dondarrion, I think Gilly, and then, like, 2 background characters. Did I have Thoros of Myr? I can't remember. He might have... No, I don't think he was on my team. I think it was just Beric. Look, I had a fucking incredible strategy, and I lost, and I'm so bitter about it. But we gotta move on. Ow! Speaking of the ending of the show, look, I know people have thoughts. Basically, I also already recorded a video where I talk about this a little bit more, but The ending didn't bother me that much. But Ghost, I wish Ghost was in it more. I wish they had just spent a fraction of the budget to give that fucking CGI dog some closure. Please. The puppy. But all of that being said, I am so beyond stoked that Sansa just got her fucking place as queen. I am a diehard... Don't smack the table. I am a diehard Sansa Stark fan. Oh my god. I have been like the one and only person rooting for her since fucking 2013. One of like the earliest just like shits and giggles PowerPoints I made was when I convinced a bunch of my friends to watch Game of Thrones. All of them started shitting on Sansa, and I literally made a PowerPoint presentation in like 2016 defending her. Because I think that she's a great character. I think Sophie Turner's awesome, and I have not opened up that PowerPoint in years, but I like specifically remember what I had on there, and look, she's just great. I'm so glad that people were finally able to remove their heads from their asses and see what a great character she was. I'm so happy that she got like the recognition that she deserves as a fucking queen, and oh, it's all coming together, folks. Good for Sophie. She deserves it. Also, like, oh my god, this is, okay. Do I want to talk about this PowerPoint? Oh my god, one of the most, like, infuriating things about, like, the whole, like, Game of Thrones, like, global audience is how people treat Sansa versus Arya. Don't get me wrong, I love Arya. She's a fucking badass. She's a tiny little assassin. She's great. But oh my god, I feel like so many people just used Arya as, like, a way to attack Sansa. Like, I know, okay, I also don't like how their reunion was handled in the show. I think that was pretty stupid. But a little bit of spoilers, they got Littlefinger, so that's fine. I'm, all for that. The sisters are back together. But anyway, I feel like, oh my god, so much of this show was so much of people, like, justifying their own misogyny towards Sansa and towards a lot of the female characters in this was, like, using Arya as a pedestal to basically, like, hold up these attacks. It's like, no, you're missing the point. That's not the point. Women are allowed to have different personalities and interests. That doesn't make it invalid. It just means that they're people. Oh, George would not appreciate this. Oh my god, speaking of George, Winds of Winter, y'all. I would be so stoked if Winds of Winter came out one day, but honestly, at this point, I don't think it'll happen, and I also, like, don't really care if it'll happen. Like, I would love to read it, don't get me wrong. But, just leave the man alone. Let him write in peace. If he wants to do other things, he can do other things. This book series is older than me. And, like, if he's bored of writing it, that's fine. He doesn't have to finish it. We basically know how it ends, even though that part was not executed well. Like, the ideas are still there. And I feel like that's enough closure for me. Don't get me wrong. I would love to read Winds of Winter and, Dream of Spring. But, if it doesn't happen, c'est la vie. Is that the right use for that? I don't know. I'm learning French. I'm trying to learn French. It's been, like, 2 weeks. It's going okay. I can't understand, like, seeing things written is fine. Hearing people talk is abysmal. Why don't they pronounce anything? Okay, I'm getting off topic. This ended up taking 5 days to complete the entire painting. It was nice. I got to work on it during, like, a free weekend and then just worked on it, like, at night after work. And it was very relaxing. I had a good time. It was nice to be able to, like, have everything set up to just hop in, do my little bits, and then peace out. It was also nice to have, like, an unlimited amount of time to work on all the details, like all of the little scales on Drogon. It sounds very daunting. It wasn't at all. It was very fun. Basically, just take, like, a brush and a little bit of paint, and you just dot it all around, and then you switch to, like, a slightly different color and then do those dots. Why am I explaining this? This is so self-explanatory. Anyway, instead of doing like actual shading and highlights and that sort of stuff, basically just using the scales and a texture as an alternative to that, it was very fun. I liked it. I think it turned out looking really good. This whole thing ended up turning out really good. I also really enjoyed like painting on the individual like eyelashes and eyebrow hairs and the teeth. Oh, Drogon's little tiny little razor teeth. I love them. Those, I'm really glad I ended up going in and doing that. Those turned out really nice. He looks like a little guy. I wanted to save Drogon for last because obviously, like, that's going to be the most difficult thing to draw, as dragons sadly aren't real. That was the most difficult thing in theory to paint, but I actually had a really good time painting him. The wings were a little challenging. Everything was a little bit challenging, but it was good. It's good to push yourself. It's nice to like be able to push yourself out of your comfort zone, you know, and try new things, see what works, see what doesn't work. Dude, get off your fucking pedestal. Anyway, Drogon I really liked. I like his little mouth. I like his little eyes. Dude, both of the eyes, I get 3. There are 3. All 3 of the eyes looked great. I really do like drawing eyes. I feel like isn't that how everyone starts doing art? Is just drawing like anime eyes. Look, I'm not ashamed to say it. I've been there. But anyway, I'm really pumped with how the eyes turned out. Adding the highlights just really ties everything together. And yeah, with Drogon done, with his little face, little highlights done, this thing was pretty much wrapped up. This might be the end of the video here. Should I explain about the dead rat? Oh yeah, if you don't want to hear about a dead rat, don't listen to this part, skip ahead. So I worked on this project over like 5 days. Maybe by like day 2, I was starting to smell something a little bit weird in my house. Started to smell a little bit like fish food, or you know, something was off. And as I kept going, the smell just kept getting worse and worse, and I thought I was going crazy. I would be sitting in the same spot for hours. I would not smell anything, and then I would just get like a whiff. And then I would be off doing something else, and I would just get a whiff. And oh, anyway, long story short, turns out that, anyway, a rat got in, another rat got in my house. Y'all, I've been having so many rat problems, I don't even want to talk about it. But another rat got into my house. Oh my, long story short, a rat died behind my dishwasher. I had to pull out the dishwasher and remove what I can only describe as the largest rat I have ever seen in my life from there. That's the fun thing about being an adult, is you're the Charlie. All of the Charlie work is done by you. Also, me specifically, I'm always the go-to one to do the Charlie work. And while I don't like it, I would rather it be done than it just sit there. Anyway, that's like the 5th or 6th rat that I've known about that's been in my house within the past year. Alright, we're done. We're done with talking. We're done with the painting. I want to go. Anyway, this is how it turned out. She is done. I am beyond stoked with how good this turned out. Like, I genuinely did not think that this was going to turn out good at all, because once again, I have not painted in years. But like, this looks fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie, I am so happy with how this turned out. I think with my current skill level, and the rate at which I've practiced, like, this could not have gone any better. There are definitely things that I'm seeing that, like, could be better technically, but I don't think I would be able to do that right now. Definitely at the beginning, I was trying to go for more of a one-to-one with the reference photo that I have of this soggy piece of paper printed out in 2015, and I definitely did not get the colors right, which might just be from like the shitty printer that it was printed on. It might just be from fading from time. Thinking about it now, it might have been good to actually like look up what this looked like digitally on a computer, but I didn't. I just went with the paper and vibes. I think one of the main differences that I could improve on is like the shading. The colors of this whole thing do not match to what they're supposed to look like. The background is a lot more like muddled and darker, but that's fine with me. That was not my focus. My focus is Danny and Drogon, and I think they turned out great. As for like individual changes, I think definitely her mouth is a little bit petite. But I would say that's like pretty on book for me because mouths are just the worst. I would take drawing hands over mouths any day. I don't understand how mouths work. It ain't in the cards, kids. That being said, her mouth at least does look like a mouth. It is very short. You know what? I'll also blame that on me from 10 years ago and just say that I drew it too small on the canvas originally. Oh, that's one other thing. This was never like primed. I know when you're painting things, you're supposed to prime it with like gesso or like a wash of like white underneath. I never did that. I'm gonna be honest, I never did that. That definitely could have improved how like some of the paint flows on there. I do actually like how the texture of the canvas comes through because it means that I don't have to add any texture in my actual art. So that's rad. Besides that, I added like this shading on the bottom here. That was like one of the last things that I added, and then I tried to blend it in more with like this yellow paint. The yellow does not look great. It looks a little bit like poop, looks a little bit like she has jaundice, but I'm just gonna live with that. I don't care enough to change it right now. The shading could definitely use some work. Overall, I made everything a lot darker than it should be, except for the shadows. Everything got like evened out to one sort of tone, but that's fine. My favorite things about this are, I think her nose looks great. Like midway through this, the nose was looking real bad, but I do like how shiny I made it and like the highlight. Her eyes turned out real good. I do like the purple. I think that was a good call. Her hair. Oh my God. Y'all, I fucking ate on the hair. The hair turned out so good. Again, the shading isn't there that it should be, but I don't care. Like there are strands. You can see like visible strands of hair in here, and that's rad. I did make it a little more like silvery platinum than straight white, and I don't know. I think it reads really well. This hair right here, I like that one. That's my favorite strand of hair. Besides that, I'm really glad how like the braiding turned out. At first, like the braid was not working out. I'm sure it looks fine, like if you don't understand like how braiding works, but I do, and so it was like silently killing me. This like little braid up here looks really good. Kind of fades into the rest of her hair, which like that's how most braids look anyway. They're kind of hard to pick out, especially when it's like a French braid style instead of like a Dutch braid. Oh, fuck, it is a Dutch braid on here. I don't care. I don't care. Besides that, Drogon looks rad. He definitely looks a lot different than the reference, but that's fine with me. Adding on like the little dots for all of the scales turned out great. That was so much fun. It added a lot of texture. I love how his mouth turned out. Like this looks wet, like a mouth, you know? The little teeth on there, ooh, those turned out good. Adding the veins on the wings too, I think gave a lot of great definition, especially because on the original piece, those were like a lot lighter. So it looked like light was passing through them. I think adding in the veins gave them that like the little extra oomph, you know? Besides that, oh, Drogon's eye also looks sick. Both the highlights on both the eyes, I think really bring it together. Last night I did finish this at like 11. I said I was done. I cleaned up, and then I went back like 4 separate times and added on like, oh, one last thing. I said that I was done with this. I'm not. I'm like done with the painting of this. I still have to go in and put like a sealant coat on it, you know, like a little spray. What do you call that? I gotta put that on there so it like seals it all in, and then it's done. And I might actually like hang this up somewhere. We're good. But I might actually hang this up. I do like it, which is rad. And it only took 10 years. Can you imagine? What a fucking jackass. Also, in my tendency to overdo things, I already spent like the last like 2 hours of this thinking about what I can paint next because surprise, I got 5 more canvases. Look, found them at a yard sale for like $5, and a good deal's a good deal. Anyway, I have more canvases to paint on in the future. I don't know if I'm actually going to paint anything. If you have anything that you think I should paint, let me know. I need ideas. I did think about when I was painting this. I do also want to paint the one shot from an animatic that I made of Odysseus with just like the water columns coming up from the beginning of Get in the Water, which me wanting to paint another piece of art that I already made might be the most egotistical thing I've ever done. But the shot's sick, so I don't really care. I think that would be cool. Anyway, 4 more canvases to do. So at this rate, I should be done with these by like 2075 if we make it that long. Seems unlikely at this point. All right, I gotta go prime this thing before it starts like pouring rain or something and destroying it. But yeah, had a good time. If you have any ideas for other things I should paint, let me know. If you've worked on an art piece for longer than 10 years, please send me photos. I would love to see it. All right, peace out. Little raw umber. Oh, jeez. That is actual shit. That is feces. Do you see this? Oh no. Whoops. That wasn't blended. Wow, what a great shot. Anyway. Oh no. It's fine. Ah! Does this look horrible? Because I think it does. Oh, there's paint on the table. Did that just ruin everything? Mayhaps. I don't like Indiana Jones. What did I just say I was gonna do? Mouth. Dry. Oh boy. None of that paint was dry. Okay, that's fine. I'll just... That's gonna bite me in the ass later, I know it. Please don't let that be true. Ah! I don't like that. Oh, that's a thick line. Oh shit. What do you think? Should I just leave the eye like that? I like it. But before it was just looking like shit. It looked like there was shit on her. The birds are scheming. Anyway,